Hello everybody, Budleyneck here, and this is MineSaga The Basics. Today we are going to be going over hoppers. On MineSaga there are a few different types of hoppers. First of all, we have the vanilla item hopper, and that is exactly what you think it is. We have a tier 1 hopper, a tier 2 hopper, a tier 3 hopper, and a tier 4 hopper. If we read the description on these, the tier 1, it says this hopper will suck up all items in a chunk. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that right now. If you look at the ground, I've marked out chunks. Each area of grass surrounded by a row of stone bricks is a chunk. If we put a tier 1 hopper down right on the edge of this chunk over here and we come into this chunk, we can throw an item down right next to it and it won't suck it up. Nothing will happen. But if we come into this chunk, we could be anywhere in this chunk. We can be clear over in this corner, and if we drop an item, it will get sucked up by that hopper. So this is the basics of all chunk-based hoppers. They all suck up all items within a chunk. Now, to know where a chunk is, there's a couple different options depending on the version of Minecraft you're running. Currently, I am running Minecraft 1.8, so I have a mod installed called Not Enough Items. And if you install not enough items, then F9 will bring up your chunk boundaries like this. So that is very handy when you're planning out how to use your hoppers. If you're using Minecraft 1.10 or above, then you can press F3 and G to toggle your chunk borders on. So those are the two ways that you can see your chunks. When you're planning your farms and your mob grinders, you really want to base them on chunks. You really need to see these chunk borders, even when you're just making a cactus farm, for instance. If you have half of your cactus farm in this chunk, half of it in this chunk, your hopper, if it's over here, it's only going to collect half. So you really need to start working with chunks. Super important to understand chunk mechanics. Okay, let's go over the hopper descriptions really quickly. First of all, we have a vanilla hopper. Normal Minecraft vanilla hopper, transfers items. Here we have a tier 1 hopper. This hopper will suck up all items in a chunk. A tier 2 hopper. This hopper will have 5 times the default transfer rate and will suck up all items in a chunk. A tier 3 hopper. This hopper will have 10 times the default transfer rate and will automatically sell all items. It will also suck up all items in a chunk. And the tier 4 hopper. This hopper will increase the transfer rate of item travel. You will also be able to sell all items automatically and filter out what items you do not want them to pick up. So the tier 4 hopper is definitely the best hopper by far. I have a little experiment set up over here. We have a vanilla hopper pointed into a chest, first of all. And if we take a look at this chest, we have 10 stacks of items. We have 8 stacks of grass blocks and 2 stacks of stone blocks. What I'm going to do is break this chest, and as you can see, we are left with everything here. We still have, let me move this up, it kind of organized it in a weird way. Let's move this down here so it all comes up here. We still have our 8 stacks of grass blocks and our 2 stacks of stone blocks. So as you would expect, a vanilla hopper doesn't do anything when you do that. The items just sit there. A vanilla hopper did absolutely nothing. No items in the chest, no items in the hopper. Let's go ahead and sell all of that so we have an empty inventory again, and we can tell exactly what we get from this. Let me make sure there isn't a lag clear coming up. Also, I don't want the items to get deleted off of the floor. Okay, they were just cleared, so we are good for a little while. Okay, here we have the exact same amount. 8 stacks of grass blocks, 2 stacks of stone blocks, and this time we are going to go a tier 1 hopper into the chest. So we have a tier 1 hopper into the chest. We're going to break this chest again. And here we can see we are left with some items this time. We are left with 5 grass blocks and 5 stacks of grass blocks and 1 stack of stone blocks. And if we take a look in the hopper over here, it has sucked up 5 stacks of blocks, but they are transferring into the chest extremely slowly. Only 3 items at a time, which on MineSaga is the default transfer rate. If we put some items in a vanilla hopper, let's go ahead and do that really quick so you guys can see. If we put some items in here, they transfer 3 items at a time. Okay, on to the tier 2. Let's get this all emptied out. We need to empty our inventory again. Point the tier 2 into there, and we will do a sell all. Whoops. And we are going to start with a nice clean empty inventory, and let's take a look in this chest. We have the exact same things again. 8 stacks of grass blocks, 2 stacks of stone blocks, empty tier 2, empty chest. Let's break this and see what we get. We break that. This time we are left with the exact same thing. 5 stacks of blocks. This has sucked up 5 stacks of blocks, but as you can see, it's transferring them much, much faster. In fact, 5 times the speed, which is 15 items per transfer. So there is your tier 1 and your tier 2. We haven't got into any hoppers that sell things yet. So that is something we are going to get into right now. Let's go ahead and do this way. I guess would be easy way to empty all of that. And let's set this up again. This time we are going to go a tier 3 into a chest. So if we put a tier 3 into a chest, there's actually a few experiments to do with a tier 3, or a couple anyway. We have a tier 3 into an empty chest, and over here we have the exact same items again. Let me go ahead and empty my inventory. We have an empty inventory, so that way we can tell what we're left with, and we have the same 10 stacks of blocks. So here goes. Let's break this, and let's see what happens with the tier 3. Let's grab this to see what we're left with. Let's take a look over here. First of all, we can see there are 30 grass blocks in the chest over here. So it has transferred 30 blocks into the chest. And we picked up 5 stacks of blocks. So it sucked up the same 5 stacks of blocks as the other hoppers, but this time it sold all but 30, and then it transferred 30 into the chest. Okay, we are going to move on to the tier 4 hopper. This time we are going to point the tier 4 hopper into the empty chest, and we have a couple of chests set up over here. We have an empty inventory. In this chest we have the same 8 stacks of grass blocks and 2 stacks of stone blocks. This time it is a tier 4 hopper into a chest. A default tier 4 hopper into a chest. We haven't changed any settings on this yet. And we are going to break this chest, and let's see what happens this time. Let's put this back down there. And let's grab this, see what we got. We are left with 5 stacks of blocks. So they all suck up the same amount of items. However, if we look here, it transferred the items into this chest much, much faster. This time it transferred 64 blocks into the chest, whereas the tier 3 only transferred 30 items into the chest. So this does transfer much, much faster than the tier 3 does. We still have a couple of experiments left to do with the tier 4 hopper. If we take a look here, the tier 4 hopper has a filter. Let me go ahead and empty out here. Let's do a sell all. So we have an empty inventory. Okay. On the tier 4 hopper, if we grab an empty hand, so get an empty hand and hold down shift and right click on the hopper, and it will bring you into the GUI for the hopper here. Here we can enable or disable auto sell, which is a very cool feature. So if you don't want this to automatically sell items and you just want to transfer items very quickly, and you can filter it. So this is really, really useful. And then over here, we can take a look at our filter. If we left click, we can look at what's in our filter. And if we want to add items to our filter, we can right click this, and then it will bring us to chat, and we could say like rose. And as you can see, it says added poppy to the hopper filter. Now, if we shift right click this again and we look at our filter, it will show it there. And if we want to remove it, we can just simply click it to remove it. So it was just removed. If you look down in chat, it says remove poppy to the hopper filter. Another way that you can add items to the filter, I'll just add chest to the filter, I guess. If you hold an item in your hand and you shift right click on a T4, it will add it or remove it from the hopper filter. So I'm going to add it. Now I'm going to take a look in here, and we will see it is in there. So that is by far the easiest way, just to hold it in your hand if you have one, or you can get one. Hold it in your hand, hold down shift, and right click, and you can add or remove it. Very nice. Okay, next experiment, I am going to grab this stone. We're going to demonstrate the filter, and I'm going to add stone to the filter, and I'm going to put this stone back in here. So this time, we are going to break the chest. Let's make sure we have an empty inventory. Make sure we have an empty filter, or an empty hopper, and an empty chest. We do. This time we are going to break this chest, and let's see what the results are this time. This time we're left with 2 stacks of stone in our inventory, and we're left with 3 stacks of grass blocks. So this time it worked. It did filter out all of the stone, and we can demonstrate this even clearer by turning off auto sell. So let's go ahead, and this time we're just going to do 5 stacks. That's all it's been collecting. All of them only collect 5 stacks. No matter how many items you drop at once, they can only collect 5 stacks. So that is what I was demonstrating by putting 10 in each chest. We've demonstrated that now. So now we are going to demonstrate the filter. And to demonstrate that more clearly, we are going to come over here and we're going to disable auto sell. So last time it sold all of the items and it filtered out the stone. This time, when we break this chest, not only is it going to filter out the stone, which right there, it was invisible for some reason, but we got the stone. Not only did it filter out the stone, but it did not auto sell, and it even sucked up the chest because it had enough room because we had filtered out the stone. So it sucked up all the items that it could, and it filtered out the stone. So that is a T4 hopper, and as you can see, they transfer items very, very quickly. Very quickly. And there we go. Hopefully that clears up any questions on how hoppers work. I have one last experiment over here, and it's actually good that it's kind of dark out. This is to demonstrate the speeds of the hoppers. So they all suck up items 5 stacks at a time, except for the vanilla. Obviously, they don't suck up items at all. But here I have all the different hoppers set up in different scenarios. Here we have a T4 hopper with auto sell disabled pointed into a chest, and we have a chest full of grass blocks here. Here we have a T4 hopper with auto sell enabled, also pointed into a chest, and the same chest of grass blocks. Here we have a T4 hopper, auto sell enabled, same chest of grass blocks, but this time not pointed into a chest. Here we have a T3 hopper pointed into a chest. Right, yep, pointed into a chest and the same amount of grass blocks. All of these have the same amount of grass blocks on top. Here we have a T3 hopper pointed straight down, not into a chest, so it is only going to be able to sell items. And here we have a chest full of the same grass blocks. Here we have a T2 hopper pointed into a chest, same grass blocks. A T1 hopper pointed into a chest, same amount of grass blocks. And finally, the plain old vanilla item hopper pointed into a chest, same amount of grass blocks. Right now, all of these hoppers are locked. Now, as soon as I flip this switch, it's going to unlock the hoppers, and we will be able to see which chest is getting emptied the fastest by the redstone lamps here. As the chest empties, it is going to get a weaker signal using a comparator, and we will see which one goes down the fastest or the slowest, and we'll be able to get a visual representation of the transfer speeds here. So we're going to do this from up above just like this. We have just unlocked the hoppers, and as you can see, the T4s are obviously a lot faster than all the others. The fastest being the T4 with auto sell turned off, just transferring items into a chest. That is the fastest, followed closely by the T4 that has auto sell turned on, going into no chest. And finally, the slowest of the three is the T4 with auto sell on and going into a chest. The T3s are quite a bit slower, so once we get down to the T3s, I am going to speed up this footage. So here we go. I am going at 8 times the speed right now. I'm going to speed this up quite a bit. You can tell the timer started going a lot faster there. We are going to speed this up for the T3s. I don't want this to take all day. I feel bad for you guys to have to sit and watch this at regular times. So let's see how fast this goes. The T3s are going to end up finishing right around 1.5 minutes for a single chest to transfer it all. And the fastest of those was the T3 not going into a chest. So I see a pattern here. The T3s and the T4s both selling, not going into a chest, were faster. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. The T2 took an entire minute longer, so it was at a little over 1 minute longer. Now the T1 and the vanilla hoppers are just going to take a really, really long time. So I'm going to do a jump cut here really quick. And here we are. We have jumped into the future, about 6 minutes into the future, and we are still going at 8 times the speed. And these are actually getting close to an end here. And they actually don't end at the same time either. There is a little bit of variance here, even though they all got unlocked at exactly the same time. And they all had the exact same amount of items. As we can see, the bottom, the vanilla hopper actually finished before the T1 hopper. The vanilla hopper finished at 11 minutes 52:92, and the T1 11:53:29. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was hoppers. I think I've gone over everything there is to know about hoppers. If there's any other questions you guys have, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you have any ideas for other episodes for MineSaga The Basics, Also, let me know down in the comments. I definitely appreciate it, and I will be glad to make that video just for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this episode, do me a big favor and hit that like button down below. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, maybe consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Keep playing, keep having fun. We will see you guys next time. Bye.